Okay, so the Tennessee special election is over. Matt Van Epps, as expected, the Republican nominee, won. He looks like he's going to win by about 8.9 or 9% of the vote. Um, there's a few things I think you want to take away from this. Uh, Only one of which is good for Republicans. So let's do that one first. They won, right? And as Herm Edwards famously said, you play to win the game. And they won. And a loss would have been absolutely catastrophic. I mean, there's no question about that. It would have set off a panic within the Republican Party. Um, to lose a seat that is this Republican, right? Donald Trump won at 60-38 in 2024. This is not a seat that should be competitive. I wouldn't anticipate the seat being competitive in next November. But had they lost, it would have been a cataclysm, and it would have been really bad because it's the last election before the end of the year, before the holidays. You would have seen a ton of retirements on the Republican side, people running away from potentially losing. So they won. Okay, I mean that's the that's the that's the best thing that happened for them. Other than that, not a lot of great news. Again, as I said, this is a district that Donald Trump won overwhelmingly. I mean, this is not this a R plus 22 district. Donald Trump plus 22 points in 2024 is not a district you would expect there to be any attention paid to. When Mark Green, the incumbent who left and who resigned, left, no one thought this race was going to be competitive, and yet here we are. Afton Bain significantly overperformed Kamala Harris, and Van Epps is going to underperform Donald Trump. So that's a bad sign for Republicans. Right now, again, let's say Van Epps wins by 9. That's a 13-point underperformance by Van Epps of the Trump number. That's actually lower than the previous 5 special elections this year. Not all of them in even marginally competitive districts, but the average Republican underperformance so far this year has been almost 20 points. That's according to my friends at Decision Desk HQ. So that's not a good sign, right? If there's a 13-point Republican underperformance in a race, that puts a lot more Republican seats in play. Like if every seat where Donald Trump won by 13 or less in 2024 is in the mix now, that's going to widen the playing field in a significant way for Democrats and in a bad way for Republicans. Now, that's not necessarily true, right? Special elections are special. It's December 2nd. The race was held on December 2nd. I mean, it's not all that replicatable, but the fact that millions of dollars were spent, more outside money spent to prop Van Epps up. There was 7 figures spent on Bain's behalf, the Democrats' behalf too, but more money spent for Van Epps to get him across the finish line speaks to the fact that the political environment is clearly sort of tilted in one direction. Will it remain that way? Will it be as tilted as we've seen this year? Don't know, right? You still got 11 months to go, but if I'm a Republican, I don't feel good about it. Another thought. What's very interesting about this race is in the past, the way that Republicans juiced turnout, the way that Republicans got their base to turn out is by the candidate running ads. It's essentially said, like, I'm Donald Trump's guy. Donald Trump's the best. Matt Van Epps did not do that. His ads did not mention Donald Trump. Trump was a very light presence in this race. He called into a rally on Monday that Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, was holding. And then he did a tele-rally, just basically, a big phone call that night. But other than that, Donald Trump was not, and he endorsed Van Epps, but other than that, Donald Trump was not around a whole heck of a lot. And I think that was on purpose by the Van Epps campaign. I think Donald Trump is not popular. Even in a district like this, he's probably over 50%, low 50s, maybe in terms of approval, but he is not at 70% approval even in a district like this. I think that's really important to take note of. Donald Trump was always the go-to when Republicans were in trouble. They needed to get the base to turn out. It was like Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. That was not the case here. He was present, but barely. And I think that's a really important thing going forward is, okay, what role do Republicans have for Donald Trump in future campaigns in 2026? Because he is not the savior politically anymore. When you're at 40% overall approval, 41, 42% overall approval, and even among Republicans, you're at, 80 something, not going to save you. And Van Epps is a very interesting. I don't know if he's a canary in a coal mine. Like, it's possible that in 2026 we'll see a lot of Republicans leaning on Donald Trump. But I would say even in the district that Donald Trump won by 22 points a year ago, he was not a super visible figure, and that was on purpose by the Van Epps campaign. So I thought that was also worth noting. So look, special elections are special. I think it's really important to emphasize that it's an odd time for an election in Tennessee. Turnout was about 150,000. Let me check the numbers. With 95% in. Oh no, sorry, turnout was 180,000. So I mean, pretty high turnout for a special election, which is really interesting. But I would say overall, it's a special election. Had Republicans lost, it would have been colossal and catastrophic. They did not lose. They won, and he's going to win by, around 9 points. But he did not win easily. Millions of dollars was spent so that he got over the finish line. And if the political environment looks anything like this come 2026, November 2026, Democrats are going to win back the House. I mean, it seems to me almost a certainty. If you have a political environment like this, where any district that is even, let's say it's not that Donald Trump won, but any district by 13 is in play. Okay, let's say it's 7. Okay, half of what it was last night. Even then, it's going to be really hard for Republicans to hold the House. And so I just think it's worth noting. I think we take it as a data point and we move on, but it is in keeping with what we have seen broadly over these special elections in 2025. Significant overperformance by Democrats, significant underperformance of the Trump number by Republicans. And that means something. It is not a guarantee of anything in the future, but it means something. I think you have to sort of pause and take that note. Anyway, that's the last major election at the federal level that we'll have before the end of the year. So we've got Texas coming up in March. So stay tuned there. As always, I ask you to do one thing, which is hit that subscribe button. It allows me to continue to grow as an independent news creator. It allows you to get free content like this every single day. All right, everyone, from Indianapolis, take care.